the record reflects that all board members are present with the exception of Mr. Smith, Mr. Zotto, and Mr. Ulrich. We are expecting Mr. Ulrich. I do have something of an announcement. 32 years ago, my friend who's sighing down there, Gene Coper, applied for a job with the West Islip School District, and I consider it all of our great luck that she was a successful candidate. As tomorrow is her last day with the district, tonight is Jean's final board meeting, and I wanted to take the opportunity to thank her again. Through 5 superintendents, a whole lot of board members, and many more parents and concerned residents that have called seeking her help over the years, Jean has been a model of efficiency and represented this district with poise and professionalism at all times. Jean, you are the best. I wish you health and happiness wherever the road takes you. Thank you for all you've done for the West Islip students all these years. We will miss you. Okay, on September 27th, there was, as many of you know, a meeting at the town planning board, and I'm going to ask Mr. Bowles to give a little summary.
Once the school district decided to close buildings and pursue possible tenants for those buildings, questions arose as to whether school buildings which had forever been under the jurisdiction of the state education department would now be subject to the zoning and building code and the jurisdiction of the town of Islip. The law requires Islip to undertake a process to determine how that should be handled. The first thing I want to mention is the tax exempt status that's associated with those buildings is unaffected. That's not an issue. The issue is, what is the zoning for those particular buildings now that they will no longer be used primarily as public school places of education? So the town conducted what's known as a Monroe hearing or a Rochester hearing to evaluate the potential tenants that would come into the site in terms of their the character or nature of entities that would be considered. And they go through a formal process of taking testimony regarding the uses and whether or not the town zoning restrictions should apply to those buildings. So we made a presentation to the town that we felt it would be in the community's best interest and the school district's best interest to allow the school district to pursue tenants. We described the types of tenants that we were actively pursuing at that time, which were primarily educational institutions, recreation, social types of activities, not unlike that which would occur after hours in a fully functioning elementary building. We made that presentation. The town provided to the community that was present an opportunity to be heard. Many questions and comments were brought to the town's attention, and those were addressed. At the end of the hearing, the town took the matter under advisement, and they will be making a decision, hopefully this month at the next planning board meeting, as to the types of uses that they will allow to occur in those facilities without any zoning change or zoning restriction.
Thank you, Mr. members of the public wishing to speak on an agenda item? Thank you. Can I have a motion for the approval of last month's minutes as contained in your backup?
So moved.
Second. Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Recognition.
Good evening. Nice to see everybody here. This year, Governor Andrew Cuomo has designated October 29th through November 2nd as School Board Recognition Week. In honor of this, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge the countless hours the members of the West Islip Board of Education have devoted to ensuring our schools provide safe, orderly learning environments for more than 5,000 students in our district. School boards have to make difficult decisions in these challenging days of budget pressures and student and teacher accountability. I salute our board for taking on these challenges, studying the options and impact of the choices they face, and having made decisions that balance the best interests of students with the fiscal impact on taxpayers. As a token of appreciation, it's my pleasure to present in a moment to each of our board members a gift in recognition of the work they do all year long for our students. I'd like to thank George Smith for his 14 years now, starting his 15th year of service, Steve Geller, beginning his 7th year of service, Anne-Marie LaRosa, beginning her 6th year of service, Bob Ulrich for his 5th year of service, Mike Zotto beginning his 4th year, Scott Brady beginning his 3rd year, and Ron McGinnis beginning his 2nd year of service. Please join me in thanking these volunteers for serving as stewards for your children.
Thank you very much. Yes, thank you very much.
October is also National Principals Month. The purpose is to celebrate the role of the principal in student achievement and reinforce the need for greater investment in leadership development. In short, everyone wants great schools. But for that to happen, we need high-quality, visionary principal leadership. In addition to the key role principals play, so too do curriculum leaders and assistant principals. Our cadre here in West Islip of 7 principals, 5 assistant principals, and 7 directors have enormous responsibilities, numerous tasks, all in the cauldron of public opinion and accountability. I believe we are fortunate in West Islip to have an outstanding group of principals and directors that meet the high standards that exist in West Islip and New York. Whatever the challenge, and we have had many, and we'll have many more, our administrators provide the direction and support for the community, their staff, and their students in handling the different issues that come their way. From helping their school deal with tragedy to setting the bar high for student and staff performance. Our principals, assistant principals, and directors play a critical role in the success of West Islip. Thank you for a job well done to our 4 elementary principals, Dan Hunter, Jack Maniscalco, John Mullins, and Dawn Morrison. To our 2 middle school principals, Andrew O'Farrell and Dan Markwood. To our 2 assistant principals at the middle school, Ellen Quaglio and Lisa Martinolich. Our high school principal, Dr. Anthony Bridgman, and his 3 assistant principals, Joanne Hilbert, Lynn McVitie, and Fernando Agramonte. and the 7 curriculum directors, Jim Gilmartin in Social Studies and IB, Karen Apollo for English, Reading, and Library, Zephy Gabriel for Math and Science, about to become Kathy Stepanski next month, Bernie Jones in Art and Music, about to become Eric Albinder next month, Jean Dowling for Special Education, Tim Horan for Health, Physical Education, and Athletics, and Sue Vasilowicz for Instructional Technology, and now the CIO, the Chief Information Officer for our district. I'd like to just read this proclamation that I'd like to present to Dr. Bridgman, who is the president of the West Islip Administrators Association. Whereas the West Islip Board of Education would like to pay tribute to the young people who have chosen to dedicate themselves to our children by selecting education as their profession, and by setting a positive example, you have instilled in your students the desire to grow and appreciate that learning is a lifelong process. And whereas administrators are committed to excellence in education by providing a positive academic experience for our children, and therefore accept the enormous responsibility of providing a solid foundation from which children develop self-esteem and become productive, responsible citizens. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the West Islip Board of Education does hereby duly proclaim by official resolution October 2012 National Principals Month throughout West Islip. Congratulations and thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Simon. Personnel. Mr. Simon.
Under Teaching T1, I'd like a motion for approval as a regular substitute, Jennifer Bianco in Reading, effective October 9th, 2012 to June 30th, 2013.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Under Classified Civil Service, CL1, I'd like a motion for the approval of a change in title, Patricia Denninger, Administrative Assistant Confidential, effective October 15th, 2012, replacing Jean Coper, retiring.
So moved. Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
And I'd like to, with the board's permission, insert 2 additional resolutions that I will ask for a motion on. They're being sent down. I'll read the resolutions. Be it resolved, effective October 15th, 2012, Patricia Denninger be appointed as the Records Access Officer for the 2012-13 school year. And be it resolved, effective October 15th, 2012, Patricia Denninger be appointed as the person authorized to accept service such as subpoenas, lawsuits, etc. for the 2012-13 school year. Like a motion, please.
So moved. Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Under Other, I'd like a motion for the approval of the list of 2012-2013 high school winter coaches as listed in your agenda.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Like a motion for the approval of the 2012-13 middle school early winter coaches as listed on your agenda.
So moved. Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Like a motion for the approval of the 2012-2013 middle school late winter coaches as listed on your agenda.
So moved. Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Like a motion for the approval of the advisors/clubs 2012-13 school year for Udall Road Middle School as listed on your agenda.
So moved. Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
And finally, under other, like a motion for the approval of substitute teachers at $100 per day as listed on your agenda.
So moved. Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Cerny. Curriculum update, Mrs. Burns.
Thank you, Mr. Geller. Professional development continues this month at both the elementary and secondary levels. Kindergarten through fifth grade teachers have each met as a grade level cohort to create a scope and sequence that aligns the Go Math series to the Common Core in mathematics. And later this month, high school English teachers will study academic vocabulary, which is one of the 6 shifts in the Common Core in ELA and literacy. And middle school teachers will continue their work exploring the 5th shift, which is writing using evidence from sources to inform or make an argument. The individual student reports, which provide parents with their child's scores from the New York State English Language Arts and Math tests that were administered last spring, should be received in all households this week if they haven't already. Got to say, I see, okay, good. The scores are also available on the Infinite Campus Parent Portal. I'm also proud to share that the State Ed Department and Business Teachers Association of New York State have awarded our business department an honorable mention for the innovative courses, teaching strategies, and creative learning experiences it provides to help prepare its students for success in both post-secondary study and future employment in the global economy of the 21st century. This award was presented at the association's annual summer conference at Hofstra University. So we're very proud of our business department.
Thank you, Mrs. Burns. Mr. McGinnis will discuss the Finance Committee meeting.
Thank you. The Finance Committee met on October 9th. Committee members present were myself and George Smith. Other board members in attendance, Scott Brady. Administrators present, Mr. Simon and Mrs. Duffy. Others present, June Mellon and Robert Nacella. The purpose of the meeting was to review the warrants for the month and discuss other pertinent fiscal matters. The meeting was called to order at approximately 7:35. First, we reviewed the treasurer's reports, which are the school district funds for the month of August, and the extracurricular report, and it was approved by the committee for submission to the board. In addition, we reviewed the payroll summary report. We reviewed the financial statements for August 2012, covering the period July 1st through August 31st. The internal claims order report was presented to us and accepted by the committee. We also reviewed the system manager audit trail report for the month of September. Budget transfers were reviewed and accepted by the committee for submission to the board. In addition, the warrants were received by the committee and reviewed. We discussed and reviewed some board agenda items, including the approval of surplus equipment, including a 1994 Chevy van, some audio-visual equipment, including projectors, monitors, VCR cameras, some televisions, some mathematics equipment for calculators and other stuff, and the high school practice wrestling mats that were damaged are all approved for surplus. There was a list of donations for the music department in the amount of $1,000. A donation from Target for the high school in the amount of $3,106.69. Several grants for Beach Street. A few other donations from Target and Ahold for Udall, Bayview, Paul J. Blue, Manitowoc, and Okonock. In addition, we discussed the special education contracts that will be presented tonight. The meeting was adjourned at 7:42.
Thank you, Mr. McGinnis. Ms. LaRosa has some comments on the School Board Student Liaison Committee.
I do have some comments. I'll be brief. week at all the schools, so every day they're doing a different activity. So if you're here at the high school, you might take a look at the different hallways that look fantastic, that are decorated in different colors, one for each grade. And pep rally tomorrow, and homecoming is on Saturday. So, what time is homecoming? 2 o'clock game, parade is at 1. So, if you're in the area, get more down. Team's undefeated, I'm told. I didn't know that before that, but that's really good, isn't it?
Teams being great.
Okay, great.
Thank you, Mrs. LaRosa. Mrs. LaRosa will now continue with the Education Committee.
The Education Committee met this evening at 7:15 here at the high school in attendance with myself, Mr. Geller, Mr. Simon, Mrs. Burns, and Ron McGinnis. Also in attendance was our English Language Arts Director, Karen Carlo. We had an update on APPR, which Mrs. Burns has spoke about this evening, where we are and what we're waiting for approval. So again, thank you very much for all that hard work. It was not an easy task to do. Curriculum review. This evening, we had the opportunity to talk about English Language Arts, where we are, where we're going, what the curriculum looks like, the professional development activities that are in place and continuing, and all the different workshops that have been scheduled, all surrounding the Common Core state standards, which is really what our focus is right now in English Language Arts, trying to have everybody understand what that Common Core is, what it looks like, what the classroom instruction should look like. And so I had a variety of questions which were answered very nicely by Mrs. Apollo and Mrs. Burns. And we will continue to look at that curriculum, hopefully adopting what the state soon will be putting out as our own. And that's about it. That's all we discussed today regarding education.
Thank you, Mrs.
Thank
LaRosa.
you.
Mr. Brady will present the minutes of the Buildings and Grounds Committee meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Geller. Good evening, everyone. The Buildings and Grounds Committee met on Tuesday, October 9th in the District Conference Room. Board members in presence were myself, Mr. Smith, also other members in attendance were Mr. McGinnis, as well as the administrators, Mr. Simon, Ms. Duffy, and Mr. Bossi. The meeting was called to order at 8 p.m. On bond construction items, the punch list completion is in progress for the pool locker rooms, the baths, the showers, the pool, offices, etc. for that area, as well as the high school and beach hallway bathrooms. The punch list completion is in progress for that as well. Also, we have the athletic storage buildings and foundations. The excavation has begun in November, and should be completed in mid-December. As far as the various buildings and grounds items, the playground inspections for safety signs, wood chips, the equipment, the borders have all been ongoing, and so far there are no issues to report. Grass athletic fields, they've been seeded, aerated, and fertilized. The maintenance work orders continue to come in, and the repairs are constantly being completed, and that's always an ongoing task for the crew, and they always seem to be on top of that. So we also have the new two recycling cans near the turf entry for returnable bottles. We hope that continues to be a success, and maybe can be expanded at some point. Building modifications. There are some minor changes that may need to be done as the year moves on, and they may discover some things that have to be tweaked here and there, and that's something that the building administrators and Mr. Bossi are continuing to monitor and make sure that they take care of those things. The PA systems the PA systems as well as the bell schedules, there are some issues to resolve there. Some of these units are quite old, and there are different problems in different buildings, and some of them are very difficult to repair because of the age of the systems. But they continue to look for that and have some repairs made to those to keep them going. Final moving related to the building closures. Some items still need to be moved in. Most of the classroom items were completed, of course, but there are still some various art, music, MST labs, etc. that have to be done. There's also a routine request for items, normal moving procedures. Some things are upgrading some of the equipment and furniture. Sometimes they'll swap furniture, and these requests are always being looked at and taken care of as soon as possible. The pool shower water mixing valve on the girls' side needed to be replaced. Right now, from what I understand, they only have it working with the cold water because the other alternative is hot water and they get scalded. So the part is being ordered, and I was told by Mr. Bossi that this would be replaced the same day that the valve comes in. So hopefully that gets done if it hasn't already been done. The pool deck and locker room cleanliness, sometimes that has come up from some people that use the actual facility, and it's actually a difficult task. The building pool is used pretty much from morning till night, and it's very difficult to get staff in there to clean the building, clean the pool area. But it is done all the time, but they are evaluating it, and they'll change things as necessary to make sure that gets done. Some issues with curtain heat. There's significant building use. Obviously, Ask Us is over there. There's department meetings, staff development, health and wellness meetings. Cheerleading uses the building as well. WISE program. So this building is it's used an awful lot. And there are some resident concerns with the actual landscaping, I guess you'd call it, for the grounds. There's some weeding and mowing issues, some trash and debris. And Mr. Bossi assured us that both those buildings, Carnegie and Westbrook, will be maintained to the same standards as all the other buildings that are occupied. I should point out, by the way, that at in Bayview, I believe it's used mainly for a reading room. There's some issues there that was brought up as far as soundproofing and some noise when some of the students are using the room. I know Mr. Bossi was supposed to meet with Mr. Mullins. They're working on some things, and I'll certainly report back to the public as soon as we find out what's going on with that. From what I understand, it's something small that they could tweak a couple of things, and maybe it'll all work out. As far as the turf field, there are some additional tears that were found, and of course that's under warranty by Land Tech, and they'll be repaired as quickly as possible. And then as far as the insurance for the flood issues, as Mr. McGinnis mentioned, with the wrestling mats, they'll be replaced. That was all approved. The tile floor replacement will also be done. And they're also looking for additional flood repairs that will be approved for Beach Street Middle School. I believe it was some of the ceilings got some flood damage. The meeting was adjourned at 8:23 p.m.
Thank you, Mr. Brady. Mrs. LaRosa would like to speak about public relations.
I will. Thank you very much. Public relations, while we did not have a formal meeting as of yet, we did discuss some public relations issues at our last planning session. Our last planning session happened directly after the Town of Islip planning meeting. And my concerns with the Public Relations Committee revolved around getting information out to people. Because a lot of what we heard at that Town of Islip meeting was unaware of that the meeting was happening, why it was happening, what exactly they were talking about, and so on and so forth. So I struggle with how to get that message out to people. We have a variety of different vehicles that we use. The website, if you go on the website, backpacks, if they bring the notices home. Middle school, high school very rarely bring notices such as at home. The other alternative is mailing, which is expensive. So we talked about our newsletters.
Connected, a phone call, voicemails, if you're a parent of a district child. I'm sorry, I'm trying to.
I know you are, you're so helpful. So all of these things together, we hope we get all of that information out, but we do miss a number of people that we need to try and connect with and reach. The mail would be the best vehicle for that. However, there's an expense there that we decreased our budget for, and currently we are going to be doing 3 mailings of newsletters this year, a fall, a budget, and a graduation newsletter. So we'll get some information in those 3 things. And so as you see where I'm building up to, we have our webmaster, Mrs. Ducro, up here with her camera, and she's videotaping our meeting, and that will be posted on our website? Not this month, it's trial right now, we're gonna see how it goes. And hopefully, this will be another way that people can, see what's going on and, then follow up with any questions that they might have after these meetings. If anybody has any other suggestions, we are so open to it, and we would encourage you to please let us know, how else we can reach people. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. LaRosa, who will continue on with the Committee on Special Ed Preschool Special.
Well, this afternoon, I met with Jean Dowling at Bishop's office on the Committee on Special Education, Preschool Special Education. Present were myself and Mr. McGinnis. We reviewed all of the current places and discussed any issues that special ed is having right now. It's quiet month in special ed. All the placements are done, and the children seem to have, settling into their classes. And, there's a constant change of placements sometimes, and special ed is in good shape. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. LaRosa. Mr. Haran? Yes,
Yes,
thank you.
he's here.
Mr. Haran will speak about the Health and Wellness Compass Coalition.
Good evening. The Health and Wellness Committee met 2 times since our last board meeting. We met on September 19th and yesterday, October 10th. For the benefit of our new members, we reviewed the extensive amount of programs that the Health and Wellness Committee oversees throughout the course of the year. We then spoke extensively about our upcoming West Islip annual triathlon, which is going to be held this Sunday, October 14th, here on the West Islip High School property and the adjacent neighborhood. The theme that the committee came up with is Trying for the Future. It's geared towards our student population, ages 7 to 14. The check-in time is going to be 7 a.m. on Sunday. The race will begin approximately at 8 a.m. It will consist of a swimming portion anywhere between 50 and 100 yards based on the age of the children. Then we're going to bike 2 miles, and with the assistance of Suffolk County PD, and obviously the town of Islip has approved the permits for the adjacent, to use the adjacent neighborhood off the Barberry and Larkspur area. And then we're going to walk for a mile, and finish up with a little ceremony at the end, recognizing all the kids for their participation. This is the first year that we're running the event. We were very excited about it. We were hopeful if we would get 75 participants in the event. We wanted to walk before we ran. And I'm pleased to say that at the end of registration as of last night, we had 115 students sign up for the triathlon, so we're very excited about it. Speaking with a lot of the community members, they seem to be very excited about it. And I think the sky is the limit as we move forward in the future. And we have some good weather for Sunday, so like I said, everyone's very excited about it. We also touched base in terms of save the date. Our Health and Wellness Weekend is going to take place Friday, March 1st through Sunday, March 3rd. We'll have our annual 5th grade and 6th grade volleyball tournaments taking place, which is under the coordination of our physical education teachers here at West Islip. And the culmination of that week, Red Ribbon Week and Health and Wellness Weekend, will be the annual 5K fun run and our annual Kids Dash that will take place on Sunday, March 3rd. In addition, we were happy to announce that the fitness trail that was sponsored by PAWS and was recently installed this past August at the Manituck property and seems to be getting a lot of use. I know when I'm down there with my children and I look around, even if they can't read what the signs tell you to do, they're coming up with some creative ideas on how to use some of the apparatus down there. Also, this coming spring, a Relay for Life is going to take place. It's a 24-hour relay sponsored by the American Cancer Society. It's going to take place here on the West Islip High School property, mainly in the turf facility on the track, and the town of Islip will be helping us with that, along with Good Samaritan Hospital. We also discussed possibly expanding Brooke De Palma's P.S. I Love You Day here district-wide and infusing it into a week-long anti-bullying type theme. And more information will follow. In addition, I've had the opportunity to join a national nonprofit organization titled Normal. It focuses on student body image and coming up with some creative ideas in terms of improving the way students perceive and deal with body image issues that they experience through adolescence, during the years here at West Islip. So we're going to be coming up with, West Islip is going to be one of 3 school districts nationally to implement a pilot-type program for this condition. In addition, on Friday, October 19th, the West Islip staff will be participating in a breast cancer awareness day, where they'll have the opportunity to donate $5 or more to this great cause. They'll have the opportunity to wear jeans to increase awareness throughout the school district. And in addition, they'll be receiving a pink Celebrate Life pen that they can use throughout the year again to promote this wonderful cause. In addition, there's been discussions with the Suffolk County PD in terms of providing a bike safety program at this Saturday's homecoming football game out in front of the concession stand. We're hoping that that will come to fruition and they'll be able to join us. In addition, they may be able to join us at the triathlon on Sunday, which would make sense since we'll have 115 kids on bikes at that event. Lastly, Wednesday, October 24th, is going to be a community drug forum held at Beach Street by the Beach Street PTA. More information to come. Our next meeting will be held on Wednesday, November 14th at Bayview Elementary School. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Horan, I just want to mention the activities that you are putting together for Compass. They're wonderful. Thank you very much. And I just would be remiss without saying that it's all due to Compass and the grant that you and Mr. Mullins have been seeking and getting every single year and putting those monies to good use. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Moran. And Mr. Markwood will discuss the bullying awareness committee.
Thank you, Mr. Geller. The Bullying Awareness Committee met on September the 24th in the Udall Library. The meeting was called to order at 6:03 p.m. Members in attendance were myself, Kathy Banowski, Kim Cerruti, Chris Kurtz, Arlene Kurtz, Nancy Perrigine, Chrissy Cavanagh, Kathy DiBernardo, Mary Louise Cairo, Anne Marie Lombardi, Doreen Hanschel, and Megan Aubin. We discussed newly implemented Dignity for All Students Act and how it applies to schools. For example, how schools now have a bullying committee in each school and how bullying issues are going to be reported with New York State as we go forward. We discussed also some of our goals for the school year, such as how we can work together as a district to collectively address bullying. One example of that is working with the Compass Coalition to expose students to the character building program offered by Campbell Productions. They do 3 screens. They're going to come into our schools, and it's a really high interest thing for students. The meeting was adjourned at 6:43 p.m.
Thank you, Mr. Markwood. Financial matters and business items. Mrs. Duff.
Okay. Our treasurer's report, the balance in our accounts on July 31st was $7,142,968.26. And the balance in our accounts on August 31st, 2012 was $31,920,258.01. Next item is a budget transfer. There's one budget transfer, number 3032, the 2011-2012 school year. Have a motion to approve that.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
We have several donations. The first is a $1,000 donation for our music department